NBA All-Star Kyrie Irving's confirmed that the process of switching allegiance to Australia for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics is underway. Irving was born in Melbourne in 1992 and is eligible for dual citizenship through his father. 2016 gold medalist, who was left out of Team USA's squad for the Paris Olympics, has contacted Basketball Australia. The Dallas Mavericks star still has a few hoops to jump through to complete the transition. Now, USA must clear the 32-year-old, and FIBA, the game's governing body, must tick the move off. Let's get more on this now with Australian basketball great five-time Olympian Andrew Gaze. Andrew, thanks as always for your time. When you saw this story pop up, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, initially it was one of excitement. I think it'd be great to have Kyrie join the Boomers program. We did try to get him many years ago before he actually represented the States at the Olympic Games. So we have had a crack in the past, but I think that anytime you have a player of his capacity wanting to play for your national team, you've got to do whatever you can to explore those options. And I'm also aware of some of the FIBA rules, so I know it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but who knows? They might be able to work something out, and it'd be great to have him as part of the Boomers.
So what are those FIBA rules? Are people thinking this is just black and white and he can just switch allegiances? What actually are the mechanics of what has to happen here?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, you have to apply to FIBA, and it's made a lot easier if the United States grant him that permission to change. But my understanding of the rules is that from the time you make that application to make the switch, that there's usually a 3-year period that you've got to go through before you become eligible. Now, FIBA are an interesting organisation, and of course they want as many people that are eligible to be able to play, and particularly if it's a player of Kyrie Irving's status. They understand how important that would be to the sport, and it'd be great for the Olympic Games or the World Cup to have a player of his capacity involved in the competition. So I think that they would do their best to try and find a way to get it done, but there would certainly have to be some rules and regulations and boxes that have to be ticked. And if it does take the 3 years, then it need to get a bit of a push along, because the Olympics is coming around. They seem to fly around real quick when you got these types of issues. So hopefully they can get it sorted quicker to give him the best chance.
Yeah, we're right on the cusp, aren't we, of that 3-year timeline. From Kyrie's perspective, why do you think he's looking at this option?
I think that I know back when we first tried to get him, Brett Brown was the head coach of the Boomers. He had a very good, close relationship with his dad. He was, in fact, the one that when Brett Brown was coaching in Australia, he brought his dad, Dedrick, to Australia. So they built that relationship. I think that he's come to Australia, visited Australia a couple of times. And I think also he loves the game. He loves international competition, and he has an affinity to Australia and feels like that it would be a good opportunity for him. I also think that he's looked at the Australian team and go, hang on, here's an opportunity to do something real special. These guys have got a nice squad, and I think I could fit into this program very, very nicely and a chance to have some success. So I think it's a combination of factors, but first and foremost, he has an affinity with Australia. He was born here, and he has some connections. So hopefully that's enough to help him. Well, it has inspired him to want to do it, but also help in that eligibility process.
So where would he fit into this Boomers lineup, do you think, in Australia, conceivably, that we could have by the time the LA Games rolls around?
Yeah, well, when you look at the guard spots, we've got some great ones in Dyson Daniels and Josh Giddey. They are going to be the foundation for the Boomers for the next 10, 15 years. So, and both of those can play in the guard position. I think, though, when you have a high-quality player like Kyrie Irving, you figure out a system to make it work because of his skill sets. And the way the game's being played these days, where it's 5 out, it's positionless basketball is the terminology that's used most regularly, that I think you're just trying to get the best available talent and then just figure out your system to utilise the skill set. So I think you see him playing alongside Josh Giddey. You can see him obviously with Dyson Daniels, with his ability on the defensive end in particular, and his shot. Both those two guys, their shot is improving year in, year out. So The combination of those three in playing time in the backcourt or even playing together, that is mouth-watering stuff, and one where I think we'd be in a pretty solid position.
Indeed, it's going to be fascinating to see what unfolds from here. Andrew, as always, really appreciate your time here on Fox Sports News.
Good on you, Luke. Appreciate it, mate.